Odysseers! Mike Martin's here with the Mike Martin's channel. Guys, I want to thank everybody for sending me messages going out of the yazoo. And what are people sending messages for? Well, people that used to watch us on our old channel that's struck down till August of 2022. Well, what happened was we got struck down for a video we did 4.5 years ago talking about the money laundering and how it's consuming Canada and Australia and New Zealand, all these countries, English-speaking countries, how they're being basically destroyed by huge swaths amounts of money laundering. And where did the money laundering come for? Predominantly China. Canada's 2021 and 2022 housing markets hit huge all-time records during a pandemic. How was that even possible? Canada's competing for wealthy investors. We've been talking about this on this channel for the last 10 years. I received close to 140 voicemail messages. I got people emailing me. I got people like at the store like leaving voicemail messages. It's been out of control. People have been saying, Mike, you are totally right. They are bringing up this money laundering now. They're bringing up the wiping of the middle class across the Commonwealth. Canada is really starting to take notice. The mainstream dinosaur media that could have done something about this and protected the people didn't care because they wanted their houses to go up in value on paper, creating these fake investments to gain wealth on paper, but realistically they're not. They're fooling themselves and they're fooling future generations. So what's happening? Well, they had to do this. They had to launder the money. They had to. Canada didn't want you to work 1, 2, 3 years and put a down payment on a home and pay it off in 10 years. They didn't want that. They didn't want the middle class to create any wealth. We want 1987 back. We want 1980 back. We want that all back. We want that back now. That's what we want. When people are saying, what are these people wanting for? What are they protesting for? They want to be able to work and pay off their debts and move forward in life and, you know, and enjoy their retirement. Unfortunately, they've taken that away from us. You could have worked bagging groceries in 1984 at interest rates at 8-9% and pay off a house in 4 or 5 years. Didn't take much. My dad paid off his house in Toronto in 2.5, 3 years at the interest rates at 16%. Okay? It was always there to do. It was always there for the taking. 16%? Well, the banks were paying you 8-9% on your savings. You had $1 million, you made $80,000 a year at 8% interest. So money laundering across Canada is now becoming a thing in the mainstream media. It's now becoming a thing in the news. It's now becoming a thing where people are taking notice of. And I said, I made a video not long ago before the other channel got struck down, that basically Canada was competing for wealthy Chinese tourists since 2010. And then and then they don't count under immigration. So when you go to Stats Canada and say, well, what are you talking about, Mike? Stats Canada is saying something else for immigration. No, doesn't match. They're investors. They're on a different plane. They don't get registered. And that's why when you go to our major cities, the demographic is completely different from what you see on the government websites. So I wanted to throw this out there to make this very clear. Fentanyl sales. Fentanyl wiped out the youth of our country. Fentanyl sales. So you got these fentanyl problems. You got those factories in the Shenzhen province in China where they were exporting fentanyl across the western seaboard, all the way from Alaska, all the way down through Vancouver, all the way down to Baja California. And they were exporting these drugs and they were taking the profits. Chinese gangs were exporting these drugs. They were taking the profits and they were flipping it into real estate and leaving the real estate empty. And a lot of the people that owned a lot of these properties living in Canada, okay, claimed $0 income and they're collecting Canadian welfare on top of it. And that was a huge article that was posted back in 2016. And people were discussing this, how unfair it was that the Canadian worker middle class is no longer, you know, gaining. So what happened was, let me show you. Work and production went here, way up here, look, up here. And wages kept going down to zero. But people are getting paid more, Mike. Pay them more. The money's been devaluing. Governments are spending more than what they're making. So when governments spend more than what they make and all they depend on is exporting their homes, I went on other real estate shows and I was laughed at. for saying this stuff. I was laughed at saying that a majority of our economy is built on exporting homes to China. And people laughed at me and said that, or when they deported mass deportation of Portuguese families in 2006, 7, and 8, Portuguese entire swaths of families being deported back to Europe after the housing started to decline in 2008, they were all deported. They weren't needed. Labor wasn't needed, so they deported everybody. So when people tell me that never happened, I don't even know what to say anymore. If people can't keep in tune with their history that's happening around them and forgetting about it, and then quickly following on the coattails of what the mainstream media thinks they're trying to tell you, man, you got something else coming. You don't know what's going on. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for all the kind messages, kind words, discussion pieces that I've been receiving. And I had to make a video here on the backup YouTube channel because unfortunately my main channel was taken down from a video I made 4.5 years ago discussing the movement of fentanyl and how it was recycled into Canadian real estate and how it destroyed the middle class of Canada, making it next to near impossible for anyone to own anything anymore. You will own nothing and be happy. And that's what they've been doing since started going nuts in 2010. They removed Trump to put in President-elect Joe Biden. And that's why now you're seeing a Marifornia across America where prices, and I said a year ago when Biden was selected as president, a Marifornia, what it means, I said housing is going to go up 100% in tons of areas across America. 60 to 100% increase across America. Everyone laughed at me and told me I was an idiot. Well, anyways, I'm enjoying my view here. There it is right there, guys. Just outside here. On my way with the wife to run some errands. Guys, join me on Odyssey. Last mic in the night, trucker convoy coverage was really good. I want to thank everybody for being part of the channel all these years. 4,600 videos later, all backed up on Odyssey now. So if YouTube decides to strike down my channel permanently, it will always be on Odyssey for record, for people to see the existence of discussion that did exist at the time, and many people were aware of it. You could tell by the comment sections in some of those videos from 4, 5, 6 years ago. Let me know what you guys think. Lots of love. God bless. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Goodbye. Mike Martins here. I have spoken.